Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a Super Bowl recap. Glendale Mayor Jerry Weyers will give us his impressions of all things Super Bowl, and we'll hear from the Arizona Sports and Tourism Authority, which runs the stadium that hosted the big game. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Apple today announced plans to build a command center for global operations in Mesa at the same facility abandoned last year by an Apple supplier that declared bankruptcy. Apple still owns the facility and is now committing a $2 billion investment over 30 years. Governor Doug Ducey talked today about the scope of Apple's plans.
It's one of the largest investments ever in Apple history. It means a 1.3 million square foot facility in Mesa, Arizona. It means 300 to 500 construction and trade jobs and 150 permanent Apple jobs. It means an investment in clean energy with projects that will eventually produce enough solar energy to power 15,000 homes. In all, it means a $2 billion investment with a 30-year commitment to the state of Arizona.
A spokesman for the governor says that the agreement with Apple does not include money from the state's deal closing fund. Yesterday, the city of Glendale was a global command center of sorts, with the Super Bowl played in front of the largest national TV audience in history. Joining us now is Glendale Mayor Jerry Weyers. Good to have you here. You're a busy man these days.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Has it been fun?
It's been fun. There's no doubt about it. A lot of work, a lot of preparation, a lot of planning, a lot of worrying, and not a lot of sleep.
Did you attend the game?
I did. That worked out, and I did, and got to see probably one of the greatest games ever, and it happened in our city. It happened in our state, and once again, Glendale, even with the fog, Glendale shined very brightly yesterday. There's no doubt.
I got to ask, how'd you get the tickets?
A gentleman, Mr. Modell from Modell Sporting Goods in New York, had heard a story that was repeated multiple times through a lot of different news agencies, and he had called up, talked with my assistants, and said that they had a couple tickets they wanted to give him. They really felt like the mayor of Glendale, the host city, should be there, and my staff had told me about it, and I had talked with my wife, and then I called Mr. Modell and said, look, I don't necessarily like the idea of taking tickets because it's offensive to a lot of citizens, people being given things. I said, but I will accept your tickets on the condition that I can write a check for the equivalent amount of the 2 tickets and make that donation in the name of Shriners Charities, which I've been very active with the Shriners for years, the transportation fund. And you know, here in Arizona, we don't have a Shriners hospital. We have a lot of Shriners kids. And so if we can send those Shriners kids to one of the Shriners hospitals for that free medical, the different things that the Shriners do, help a family out that hasn't got the money, help a child lead as close to a normal life as possible. If that's my way of paying it forward, then I certainly don't have a problem with that. And Mr. Modell graciously said that he had no issues with that. He was happy with that. So that's what we did.
All right. Did the NFL or the Bidwills, did anyone apologize for that oversight?
No, sir, no one. There was never any apologies. And I quite honestly, I don't know if any apologies were necessary. In fact, I don't believe any apologies were necessary. Whether it was an oversight, I don't know. You know, and I guess there's really no sense in worrying about what had happened. You know, we're gonna move forward. You know, we'll get over this, and we'll try to do what's very best for our city. Certainly, what's best for the state of Arizona. You know, Arizona really, truly has been on the world stage this last 30 days. When you start looking at all the events that have happened in just the Valley alone, between the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, Mecum Auto Auction, and the records, the incredible numbers they were setting over at the golf tournament. You know, we don't get a lot of chances to really let people see what we're about. And I think as a region, I think everybody did a fantastic job, and we've proven what Arizona can do.
But again, as far as this apparent disconnect between Glendale and the Bidwills, the NFL and Glendale, you perhaps and the Bid, I don't know what the disconnect is. What is going on there, and why do you think it exists?
You know, and I've made this statement multiple times. I think the past Super Bowl, not yesterday's, but a few years ago, I think there were some things that were done, some things that were said that I think there were some feelings deeply hurt that never, you know, I don't think those wounds were ever healed. And I think with a new Super Bowl coming, it's kind of like ripping scabs off. I mean, it's pretty painful. And again, I believe that, you know, and I made this statement multiple times, that, you know, I'd sit down with Mike, drink a beer with him, and see if we can't mend some fences and move forward, do what's best for his organization, for the city of Glendale, for the state of Arizona. I truly believe we can, but, you know, the swelling's got to go down before we get there.
And the swelling probably still exists when you hear reports of Michael Bidwell saying that you guys don't cooperate. Everything's happening in Phoenix and Scottsdale because you guys won't cooperate.
You know, again, I don't know if talking about that's going to do us any good. As we move forward in the future, everybody knows what we're capable of doing. You know, first and foremost, my concern is put on the safest, best event possible. When citizens leave, their concern was never safety. Their concern was that they're going to get home. That they're going to have a great time, that they're going to have money, hopefully some money left in their wallets to them. You know, obviously we want them to spend as much as they can, but we want them to leave with a great experience of Glendale, of the Valley, and of Arizona. Go home, tell their friends, and maybe, and just maybe, those folks might decide to move down here, maybe move their businesses down here. Mm-hmm. And that's that future that I can't predict. I can't tell you whether the city made money or lost money. I don't know. We won't know until we get all the beans counted.
How much is it usually? How much do you think this costs the city?
Well,
overall,
I think that. Well, let me shorten it up a little bit. I think that we're probably going to lose a couple $1 million initially when you first count the beans, but I won't know that for sure until we get everything brought in, we get our audits done, and get back and really truly find out how much went out, how much came in. But how do you put money, how do you put a value on 100 million people watching a game yesterday? 100 million people hearing the words Glendale, Arizona, and seeing people walk around in shorts. You know, there's value to that, but is it a true dollar value that you pay your bills with today? No, it's not. But in the future, very likely, more than likely, yes.
In the future, if there is another Super Bowl.
Well, let's not go there. Let's say we're going to have some more Super Bowls.
Let's say we're going to have another Super Bowl in 6, 8, 10, 12, whenever it is, years. By then, will there be more for people to do in Glendale? Will there be more hotel rooms? Will there be more events and things? Because I've heard the criticism, yeah, they're going to Phoenix and they're going to Scottsdale. There's nothing going on in Glendale.
I agree with that somewhat. You know, and I've been very clear about this. I do not have any issues or problems with what Scottsdale, with what Phoenix, with what Tempe has done, because it makes sense. It makes business sense. I'm not upset with anybody for the fact that you want to keep the largest group of people together as you can. The event in downtown Phoenix, they have light rail, they've got all the hotel rooms, they have the civic centers down there. They have a way to accommodate that many people. We don't in Glendale. But Phoenix has been around a little bit longer than Glendale. It's grown much quicker. Glendale in 6, 8, 10 years, I'm certain we'll have more buildings. I don't know how much, but right now we only have about 2% of the hotel rooms in the entire state. So it's really, you're not comparing apples to apples.
Right, but is there a movement afoot somewhere, somehow, to get more hotel rooms, to get more things going on there?
I think that's been happening in the last 30 days. I think business are going to see that Glendale is an area that there's an incredible amount of potential growth. We have a lot of property out there that has nothing in it right now, possibilities of more annexation. And we have I would like to say an epicenter of new growth that's starting to happen that I think people's going to see in the next 5, 10 years. Glendale is where all the growth's happening, and I think that you will see some of those things you're talking about.
As far as Glendale residents, do you think most Glendale residents, if you just face-to-face ask them straight up, are happy that that football stadium is out there and are happy that the Super Bowl was there?
I believe if you ask those two questions, the sense of pride that the citizens have about those two issues, absolutely. There's an incredible sense of pride for citizens to be able to tell somebody, Glendale, Arizona, the place that we held the Super Bowl twice.
Right.
there's an awful lot of pride with that. With that, you know, you also have some other issues that you have to work with. We have to have public safety. I got to make certain that anybody that comes to the state is protected, and that my citizens also, at the very same time that we're protecting 80,000 people at the stadium, my citizens get the same level of service that they're accustomed to if there's a fire or an emergency, so police or fire. With that comes the burden of how do we do that? How we partner with other cities. We have other cities bring officers out, but with that also comes the burden of the cost. Public safety is very, very expensive, and the last year plus that they've worked on making this be a safe issue, a safe event yesterday, people have been spending a lot of time, I mean a tremendous amount of time, sitting in a room saying, what if? And I wouldn't have wanted them to do it any other way. They covered every base, they've checked every square, they've dotted every I and crossed every T. We did it right, and we showed the world it can be done. We set the standard of what other cities will want to do.
Last question, when the next Super Bowl comes around, what do you want to see most from the state, from the NFL, from the Bidwills? What do you want to see?
Well, I guess to answer that, it's actually multiple answers. From the state, I'm working, and I believe that we got a really good chance of getting the state, the legislature, to pass a similar bill, what we were trying to do last year, where the state understands all of these things that we've talked about tonight, brings a tremendous amount of money to Arizona. And whether it's in Arizona, or whether it's in Glendale or Tucson or Phoenix or Tempe, if it's a bid situation where we're competing with other states, the state needs to understand if we don't get that, the money's not going to be here. So the state benefits, they make a lot of money from it. They need to help with some of the public safety cost. I don't remember the three that you mentioned.
NFL and Bidwills.
Yeah, NFL, obviously the NFL, I think that we can do a lot better job working with the NFL, partnering with them earlier on. As far as the Bidwills, you know, we just got to get Mike to find some quarterbacks to stay healthier, so that next time we have the Cardinals playing in the Super Bowl.
Indeed.
In Glendale.
Yeah, there you go. And a nice quiet spot for you two guys to share a beer or two and figure things out, huh?
We can make it happen.
All right, Mayor, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
The Arizona Sports and Tourism Authority owns and operates the University of Phoenix Stadium, where last night's Super Bowl was played. Here now for a review of the big event from the authority's perspective is its president and CEO, Tom Sadler. Thank you for joining. Have you had any sleep?
We've had some, Ted. Not as much as I normally get, but it was all worth it.
Overall impressions of, I mean, just all of the Super Bowl activities from start to the jet planes flying out this afternoon.
You know, by all indications, and we're less than 24 hours since the game and event took place, that the community, the Super Bowl host community, the volunteers, the municipalities, the state agencies, the list goes on and on, hit it out of the ballpark. I think we've set the bar higher than we ever have in terms of hosting a Super Bowl, so I couldn't be more happy.
What went especially well?
Well, when you have so many different moving parts, if you've not seen behind the curtain of an NFL Super Bowl being staged, there are so many different entities that are responsible for various components of game day, and not to mention what happened in downtown Phoenix or out in Scottsdale, that sometimes there can be challenges. And I'm not going to say there wasn't, but they were small and they were easily solvable, and it just seemed like it was a very smooth running machine.
As far as any challenges or what you would maybe next time around you'd like to see improve? What do you
You know,
think?
I think it's a little too early for that right now,
Real,
Ted.
so
Yeah.
it went that well.
It
then.
really did. You know, I think what'll happen is we'll engage in some very careful debriefing amongst all the parties, and then see what comes out on the table and find out what those things are and make those adjustments.
Talk about those meetings. Who will get together and kind of recap things, and as you mentioned, debrief?
Yeah, well, it'll be you know, the law enforcement agencies. It'll be the folks that work at the stadium, the various municipalities and folks within their organizations. So it'll be very well scripted and structured so that we have the opportunity to find out how we can improve.
Were there any security issues, any security concerns?
Well, there's always concerns.
Yes, but I mean, it's special concerns.
But no, not yesterday for the most part, as far as I know, as of this moment.
Did I read that that was one of the most secure buildings in the country yesterday?
It really is. First of all, a Super Bowl is an event one. They categorize it as an event one security concern. And so that by doing so, we receive all the assets from the federal, state, and local governments to help us assist with putting together security. I should mention that University of Phoenix Stadium is one of 3 stadiums in the country to be certified under the Federal Safety Act as a stadium that practices best practices, and it was a very rigorous process we went through to receive that certification, and so we're very proud of that.
There was a lot of wet weather Friday and on into Saturday, and we had the fog on Sunday. Now, consider that halftime show. By the way, who puts that halftime show on?
You know, it's a subcontractor of the NFL. Pretty spectacular, though, huh?
Well, no kidding. And obviously having the roof open helps a lot with that particular show. Was there a plan B, a contingency plan, if it were raining Sunday?
Well, if it was going to rain, I think if there was any chance of rain, that roof probably wouldn't have been open. But they felt good about the weather conditions and opened the roof.
But I mean, that would change the halftime show, wouldn't it?
Yeah, most likely would have. Absolutely.
You know, flying around and doing all the whole night.
Yeah.
But I guess they have that figured out as well.
Yeah.
So the rain was not a problem leading up to the event?
Not for our preparation. You know, we've got the luxury of closing the roof and working indoors. Certainly the folks that worked in and around the stadium putting together the tailgate party and those kinds of things, I'm sure it challenged them, but it really wasn't that big a deal for us.
I heard there was an expanded stadium footprint for the game. What does that mean?
What they do for the Super Bowl is they take your entrance gates and they mandate that the entry points are now 300 feet around in a perimeter. So it creates a more safer environment. So they really back things out into the parking lot, again, so as to create a more safer environment.
So that was a little different. For Cardinal fans, that's a little bit different than what you see on any given Sunday, as they say.
Yes, yes.
The general atmosphere of the game, festivities, but at the game especially, at the stadium, just what you saw, compare and contrast to a Cardinal game.
Well, you know, it's a different event. It's of different magnitude. I mean, it's huge. I had the folks out from the NCAA and the College Football Championship to show them around. And to say the least, they were in awe of the size and magnitude of it. So I think just the size and the energy level for an event of that nature that's really on the world stage is just incredible.
I was going to ask, I know that they came out here, what were their reactions? I mean, what were they seeing? What were they talking about?
Again, as we showed them around, they were not that they haven't been to a Super Bowl in the past, I'm sure they have. They were just really impressed with the enormity, the organization that went into pulling this off, but they were only here for a few hours in terms of the time I spent with them. So I'm going to have to spend time with them, you know, in the near future to talk about what kinds of things that they take away from that and what do you want to do with your event.
And I would imagine now that it's the day after the Super Bowl, we can start peppering you with questions on the NCAA title game and the Final Four, right? What are you going to do for us next?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. We'll have the Frozen Four here or something, I guess.
But I mean, it really is a different beast. Both those things are very different, aren't they?
They really are. I mean, all three have their own signature to them. They have similar elements, but yet they're very different as well.
Is there, as far as, and I don't want to get into economic kind of stuff here, but as far as future Super Bowls, are we still going to be in play? Something's going to happen in LA or San Diego or somewhere in between. You still got Jerry's World over there in Texas. You got the Levi Stadium, and you got whoever's building a brand new stadium because they always seem to get Minneapolis this next time around. Can Phoenix afford to stay in what seems to be an increasingly higher priced game?
You know, I think so. I think when you look at the return on investment from hosting an event of that nature that we hosted yesterday, the short-term economic impact was valued at, what was it last time around, $500 million. I suppose we'll exceed that this time around. When you think about 160 million viewers watching that around the world, when you think about what the economic development opportunities are associated with that, in terms of people moving their business here or moving here, or they had a great time during the Super Bowl week, had just a tremendous world-class experience, and they come back again when we don't have an event, which helps our economy. So I think we need to stay in the game, and I think Michael Bidwell mentioned 2 or 3 days ago, hey, let's get the next one if we can, and let's go after it.
Well, we'll give you some sleep first before we get on. How's
Yeah,
that?
yeah, just take a couple weeks before we
All
get
right.
the next one.
Sounds good. Congratulations on what's looked like a very successful event. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ted. My pleasure.
When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
In 1872, Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis came up with an idea to use copper rivets to strengthen denim cloth. The idea was a hit, and jeans soon became a mainstay of American clothing. Producer Shauna Fisher introduces us to a Phoenix man who is taking jeans to a whole new level.
To say Roman Acevedo loves denim is an understatement. For him, it's a way of life.
You know, I remember having the big drawer full of 501s where I would pull the drawer open and I would look through them to find the ones with the least amount of holes so I could wear those to school. You know, so denim for me, you know, it just takes me back to being a young kid running around the city, and I think it kind of resonates with a lot of people that way.
After 18 years in the restaurant business, Acevedo decided to open Lawless Denim, a custom denim and leather goods store.
We do everything from denim jeans, jackets, shirts, leather jackets. All our belts are made by us. All our women's totes, our denim and leather totes, and our oiled leather totes are done right here.
Rows and rows of denim line the walls, and chances are when you create a custom pair of jeans at Lawless, they will also be one of a kind.
We've selected some of the finest denims in the world, primarily cone meal and Japanese. It's all salvage denim, and we work very hard to source very limited production, very limited runs, maybe dead stock. So we'll get 50, maybe 100 yards if we're lucky, and from there you get to select your denim. Then you'll pick your buttons, your pocket liners, your thread colors, and then we take you in for a fitting. And we take about 10 different measurement points so we get the perfect fit for you.
Johanna Root is coming in to get fitted for her second pair of jeans. She says being able to be a part of the designing process is what caught her eye.
And then from then just picking out which one looked coolest to me, and it was really awesome. And then picking out buttons and rivets and stitching. You can have 3 different kinds of stitches in different colors, and so you can really get creative designing them. I went for the gunmetal. It was exciting.
It takes roughly 2 to 3 weeks for Acevedo's seamstresses to sew the jeans. It's exacting work. Since they're working with a limited supply of denim, they have to be sure each cut and each stitch is perfect. It's that dedication that has driven Acevedo to pursue his second passion, putting people to work.
I started Lawless for 2 things. One, I love denim and I love leather. It's those materials that only get better with age. And secondly, I wanted to find a way to put people back to work on a consistent basis. And what I think I've identified is a real need, you know, and that need is the skill set to make our own goods. So that's what we're all about. How many people I can put to work and give them a good job with a good career.
His goal is to put 200 people in Phoenix to work. Part of that work involves creating their own denim using 14 vintage looms from the 1920s that Acevedo has housed in a nearby warehouse.
These were the kind of looms that Levi Strauss used to use. And what we're going to be doing with these is setting them up to produce denim and chambray. To my knowledge, it hasn't been done west of the Mississippi in a salvage format. So it's something that we're very excited about. We'll be using Arizona Pima cotton to do that. So we decided, let's take this a step further. Let's not only make our own jeans and use our own Arizona copper for our buttons, but let's make our own denim and chambray.
In the end, for Acevedo, this is much more than just a business. It's a chance to weave together his dreams and his community.
You know, when I close up the store at the end of the day and I walk out of here, I'm always fixated on my next move and what's going to happen the next day, and what do I got to do to continue to grow this and take it to the next level, and how can we perfect the product even more, and being proud of having something that really, you know, makes a difference here in Arizona.
Jeans at Lawless Denim start at around $79 a pair. Tuesday on Arizona Horizon, we'll hear from ASU Athletic Director Ray Anderson. And we'll meet the new leader of the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, which works to bring new business to the valley. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.